friends. Hello, Saf.
Hello.
Hello, everybody who's out there. I see the chat is already super active today. Hello, everyone. I can't wait to read it all. It looks like Southern Sass has something going on there. I look forward to reading that later. Chris is packing up from Texas and heading back with the fam to Israel. So he is not. Oh, Cynthia here is from Texas. So Chris is about to be traveling back to the Middle East to join you. So he is not here with us today, but we are glad that everybody is with us, and we are diving in to the great transition, talking
Yes.
about what is going on. Yeah, talking about what is going on in the world through the lens of the wisdom of Kabbalah. So welcome. Welcome to first time people and our old friends. We do always check the chats. I think we're also on Facebook, so have ideas or questions or things about the show, let us know there. We are very happy to see them if we can get to them during the show, or we always read them afterwards. All right, everyone. Actually, it seems like things cooled down. I mean, not cooled. It's actually very, very hot.
It's
It's like
actually
extremely
very
hot in
hot.
Jersey. I know it's
Yeah.
super hot everywhere, but I mean,
It's
it seems like
sweltering
we're
hot,
getting
yeah.
sweltering hot. Besides the sweltering heat and
Hmm.
the 160th day of the war and all the other craziness,
Yeah.
our news cycle in the last few days has not been overwhelmed by a new war or a new tragedy. So it seems like,
Mm.
if you don't constantly keep feeding it, you kind of get desensitized to it. I guess like the way we get desensitized to the word peace or love or anything.
Mm.
Anyway, listen, when people want to approach the wisdom of Kabbalah, when they want to approach the Zohar, for example, or even the Bible, the five books of Moses, there's a big problem. The language is so coded and it's so far from us that it takes tons of preparation. Like one word or one line is like a whole zip file. We always like joke about that. Like we could say one word and we
Yeah.
both know what we're
Yeah.
talking about. But there's so much
Yeah.
preparation. One
Yeah.
sentence contain a whole book. In fact,
Yeah.
there's
Zip
been
zip file is really a great example. That's really what it feels like. Yeah. It's like a package, and clearly it needs to be unpacked. Yeah.
right. You can have one word.
Yep.
That word can have a numerical value. That word can have the shapes of the letter. That word can be related to other words. And then you take that word and put it into a sentence connected to other words. And you literally have entire books written about just one sentence, or even, like the first word of a book or something like that. So what conditions, what connections, the Zohar, the Torah, it's locked behind many, many gates for many, many thousands of years. So as the generations progressed, as humanity developed, and specifically from the Ari to our times, the gigantic Kabbalist Bala Sulam wrote several introductions to the Zohar to prepare a person to enter in there. So, for example, if I'm going to go visit you in Israel, I need to have some
Which will happen soon, right?
yeah. So I need to
Yeah.
have some
Hmm.
shekels. Is it shekalim? I need to have a couple shekels, right? I
Yeah.
need to
Have
be
some.
able. I need
You should
right.
have some
It
shekels. Yeah.
it's worthwhile to have a place to sleep when I get there. If I'm
Yeah.
allergic to za'atar and hummus, it's going to be a problem. Like there's like just a few kind of preparations I need to do, right? Do I
Yeah.
bring a winter jacket? Do I bring shorts? Like if I'm going to visit a country, even we understand there's a few preparations. If I'm going to if I'm going to go to the New Jersey shore, the beach for the weekend, anyway,
Hmm.
I need a towel, I need sunscreen, I need something, bathing suit to go in the right. So even when we're going to go somewhere physically, we need some kind of preparation. So when we're going to go approach a spiritual place,
Yeah.
a place of fulfillment, a place of warmth, a place beyond, I mean, even place of fulfillment and warmth already, it seems very different than what we're talking about, when we in our news cycle, but a place beyond time and space. So we need to have some kind of language, some kind of tools to know how to navigate there. What's the weather going to be like when we get there? So in
Hmm.
all of those introductions that Bala Sulam wrote for us to the Zohar, he goes over the structure of reality again and again from the top.
Yes.
He goes from the bottom. He goes from the inside, essence, soul, body, garment, hall. He goes from the outside. He goes from every direction, in, out, up, down, right, left. And slowly, by going over this again and again, we orient ourselves, we calibrate ourselves to that
Yeah.
place, that spiritual place. In addition to those introductions, he even stepped it down even more. He wrote all these other articles that are really close to us in a more kind of colloquial language without all of the language of the Sphirot and worlds and all that stuff on how um, on our material dimension. He goes, okay, so you have Keter, Chochma, Bina, Zeran, Pin, Malchut. So he goes, you have inanimate, the mineral, the elemental level, then the vegetative, then the animal, then the speaking. He starts to break it down in his truly epic article, The Freedom, where he covers free will so clearly, so patiently lays out before our eyes that we're a piece of hardware, a piece of protein hardware that
Mm-hmm.
has some software installed on it. Right? We're obviously not consciously. I say that we have software operating on this piece of hardware. Think about it. You don't. You're not. How many hours a day are you like working on like your kidneys and your all your pancreas? All of these things have software installed on them. They know what to do.
Yes.
If a bone breaks, it knows what to do. If germs enter, that all of these systems, there's much software installed on this hardware that knows what to do without us doing anything. In addition to that, this is all laid out real clear in Bala Sulam's article. In addition to that, we also have ancestral inheritance, meaning like all of the things that those who came before us acquired in their generations, and then he says, that drop comes from the father's brain and then leaves him and goes into them, is implanted into the mother. All of that is also then passed on to the next protein hardware that will come out.
Yes.
In addition to the software that comes, the same monkey software, right? If a monkey also has a heart and lungs and a brain, just like we do. So that software on those organs is not unique to us. But additionally, we have this other ancestral inheritance that we learn from.
Yeah.
It's kind of
And
copy
even
paste.
and even if you look at genetics, there's like 1% of genes that separate us and monkeys. And there's also between people, there's just 1% of genes that's different. Like, so you and I and everyone else in the world, we share 99% of the same genes, and there's only 1% of our genes that makes you and I unique and novel from each other. So it's all hardware and software built in, wired into us. Yeah, all built in. So where do you
It's
want to go
funny
with
that
it?
we,
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny that we all seem like we're all so different from each other when
Yeah.
99.9% of us are the same. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so
All
many
of your
wars,
uniqueness, if
so many
all of your,
problems.
my dreams, my aspirations, my goals, my traits, my quirks, I'm so unique and weird and strange and special, and that's just like really what, if you're talking about the corporeal level, the material level of reality, it's just really 1% that makes all of that fuss, of your
Probably
gene.
even less than 1%. So,
Yeah.
and then, and then we're born. So, and
Yeah.
when we're born, we didn't choose what we're fed. We didn't choose what songs were played to us. We didn't choose what books were read to us. We didn't choose our home life. Was it a safe home life? Was it a volatile home life? Did our teachers, what did they bring to the classroom? What kind of life did they come from? What kind of home did they have?
Yeah.
When I want to get sneakers, I want to get sneakers based on what the kids that I like are wearing. There's certain kind of
Yeah.
kids. If you drive
I,
past the high school, you
I
see the
love
kids.
how uh, um go ahead, sorry. Go,
No, tell me.
now finish the what,
When you go past high school, you see there's the group of kids that are wearing like the Doc Martens. There's the group of
yeah,
kids that are wearing the Converse All
right.
Stars. There's the group of kids that are wearing the sports shoes. There's the group of kids who are wearing Birkenstocks, like desert sandals, maybe as you guys call them.
Hmm.
You wear clothes according to what your friends are wearing. The
Yeah.
music we listen to is according to the people that we uh, respect. So it
Yeah,
turns out,
what maybe made me giggle is that
Yeah.
I remember the first time I read the Freedom article by Bar Sulam. So he writes right in the beginning there, one of the first few paragraphs, he goes something like, "So if you really delve into the word freedom, you'll see that there's no meaning to it whatsoever. Like any meaning you apply to it, really you find it gone when you start thinking what actually makes me free. What in what am I free? Free to do what? Think what?" And it's like everything comes to you either from your genes or from your environment and your education. It's like you're really we have to rethink, our whole attitude towards free choice. It's funny because freedom, right? Like in the world, it's like this big thing. Man is free, the land of the free. A democracy promotes freedom of the individuals, the pursuit of freedom and all that. And really, in the grand scheme of things, freedom is not that big thing. It's actually a very specific, very thin latitude area where you have latitude in the whole program of reality, and you need to
So
find
I
it.
so
Yeah.
I think you were being really generous when you said 99% because I
Ah,
wrote
that's just
ninety-nine point
genetics.
nine 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 nine
That's
nine
just
nine 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 nine
yeah.
percent Yeah, so we're living 99.99999% without consciousness based
Mm,
on the protein hardware we got, the software we got installed on it, and then the other software that we received from society as far as
yeah.
music, tastes, and all those things. So if we're any other species, um, if we're foxes, if we're like all of the other species, we're like the leopards, we're like the dolphins, the whales, we're just another version. There's chimps, there's orangutans, and there's us. What are we called? Homo sapiens?
Yes.
Whatever we're called. You got chimps, you got orangutans, you got dolphins, you got whales, and you got us. Okay? If that's it, if we're just another group, so there's not a lot to talk about, right?
Hmm.
It's just that's it. There's just each one is just a different kind. It's and that's it. But imagine a scenario where a leopard sneaks up on a chimp,
Okay.
right?
All
And
right.
he and he's waiting,
Sneaky
and bah,
leopard. Yeah.
yeah, sneaky leopard, and he's waiting for the chimp. The chimp comes down from the tree, whatever, and the leopard gets him. He gets his claws into him, like breaks the skin,
Okay.
okay, and he's
Okay.
holding on to him good.
Yeah.
But the chimp is a beast, and he whacks him in the face, and the leopard lets go for a second, and the chimp gets away, and
Okay.
the chase is on. The chimp has his arm gashed, ripped open, okay,
Yeah.
but the body will take all of the, if the chimp hangs out for a while, goes up in a tree and hangs out in a week, whatever, 2 weeks, he's going to be healed, but not now.
Sure.
No energy is going to go towards healing the arm right now.
Right.
a
Everything
hundred
is
percent
going towards fight or flight right now. Yeah.
exactly flight. 100% of the energy is going
Mm-hmm.
towards flight. So all of that leaves all of the other things. Now with us, even um, we have this different, let's still assume that we're just a different species like everyone else. We have the front part of our brain which can do all of this different kind of processing, but when we're in fight or flight, the not only does the blood leave the limbs and stuff, but the
Mm-hmm.
blood leaves the thinking part of our brain and moves back to the reflexive part of our brain, back to our kind of
Yeah,
original,
like
our
the
animal,
limbic system and all that area. Yeah.
all the reflexes, like how do I
Yes.
just keep myself alive, all that software that's installed about how to just keep the species, how to keep
Yeah.
this creature alive,
Mm-hmm.
not all that extra stuff. So
Yeah. So basically, you could get a phone call, and if the phone call you get is in a certain time of the day in a certain context where you think it's your angry boss or something, you could then direct all your blood flow to the limbic system and stop thinking
mhm,
because of one, a ringtone, literally, which is it's really funny if you think about.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that ringtone today represents what, something like seeing a saber-toothed tiger was 200,000
that's
years ago.
right.
It's insane.
And
Yeah.
even more than that, uh, It's funny because I know people who they hear certain, like they have a certain alarm on their phone and they're like, ugh, like every time they hear it, it gives them like PTSD. But so um, imagine, well, we know from just even movies and things like that that we can feel emotions based on something that we see on a screen. We can cry, we can laugh, we can get scared. So imagine
Yes.
if there was something on all the our media here, for example, that it was like Vladimir Putin saying, you know, I'm going to nuke the U.S. at 8 p.m. New York time.
Okay. The
Imagine what
problem
you
is
would
when
feel.
you say something like that example specifically, be be just clarify that you're just giving an example. Say it a few times because people today will, this could be reality very very soon.
That's what
So
I'm okay. So I'm
so I'm
talking
saying
about just an
if you
example here.
okay, just say
I'm just
I'm
saying an
bringing up an
example.
example. Say it in the
I'm
begin
saying
before the example and after the example.
here's an example. Imagine an example that there is some
Uh,
video circulating of Vladimir Putin saying, I'm going to nuke New York at 8 p.m. Eastern today. That's an example. I'm just
Good.
giving an example
Okay.
right
Yes,
now.
this was an
Okay.
example.
And imagine all of the emotions, all of the reactions,
Right.
all of the
Right.
limbic activity.
Yeah, like the collective
Imagine the
limbic
traffic.
consciousness, subconsciousness of humanity now
Yeah.
turns
Imagine.
on. Yeah.
Right. Now imagine it turns out that it was a deep fake.
Right.
Do you know what a deep fake is? A deep fake means it's
Yes.
software that they have now. It can make any person. It started out, of course, as everything did in porno. They took a celebrity's face and put it
Ah,
on
did
someone
it
else.
start
And
from porn? I didn't know that
yeah, I think
actually.
the whole internet started from porno.
Yeah,
So
well, not from scientists, but
obviously,
definitely the from scientists it started, but definitely the high bandwidth
expansion.
video consumption. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
So
they
I think that's where
spearheaded
deep fake
that.
also.
Yeah.
I think deep fake really, took its wings from that same industry. Um, so
Okay.
the point is that the reaction, right? It's not like the leopard actually got his claws into you. Nothing actually happened in
Yes.
reality. Only that
Yeah.
we think something happened. We perceived that something happened. And all of that reaction, real feelings all
Yeah.
came out of that. First of all, I would impress upon everyone to realize that even if it's not deep fakes, this exact thing is happening all of the time now. We're constantly being fed things by crooked, corrupted people in order to keep us in. I'm not talking conspiracy theories. Just turn on the news and you'll see. I mean, you look at the weather report from 1990 where it was 39 degrees Celsius in
dude
England, and it was
dude
like a person saying it's
check
very
out
hot.
check this out what I just saw yesterday. We didn't talk about this the you know how I'm sure I mean it's like that in the States too. You have all of these juices or things you eat, things you buy in the supermarket that say 100% natural ingredients. This is
Mm-hmm.
organic ingredients, natural ingredients. Anyway, in Israel at least, and I'm sure it's the same over there and probably all over the West. The when you buy a juice, an orange juice or whatever that says 100% natural ingredients, that's what it says, 100% natural ingredients. What that means is
It came
that
from Earth.
it means that at some point it came from Earth. Beyond that, I saw
Unbelievable.
this Israeli guy who does these mini documentaries. Anyway, he shows you exactly what happens. It turns out, long story short, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but long story short, the regulation is such that you're allowed as a company to write natural, 100% natural
If it comes from Earth,
pretty much if it comes from Earth. There's a list of about 110 different things that whatever you take from Earth can go through, and still the regulation allows you to call it natural ingredients. So you end up with, so for instance, with the juice, there's a bunch of oranges that it comes from Brazil, actually, most of them. And how can you send all those oranges and make orange juice in Israel? Like, how does that work? So they basically they squeeze the oranges, they take away all of the pulp, they freeze it, and then it
Got to
comes
remove all the water too, so it
they
can
have to
transport
yes,
easy.
yeah, basically it becomes this bland, tasteless, just essence of something. They make ice cubes out of it, then they send it to Israel as ice cubes, then it's reheated here, and then they add all kinds of stuff to it. All kinds of stuff to it. Long story short, what you're getting, and all the
100% Brazilian orange juice.
exactly, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So I'm saying, forget conspiracy theories. Everything that you hear on the news, read on the internet, put into your mouth, see on the supermarket, see everything that's advertised to you, that's told to you, in one way or another, is swayed, distorted, colored, painted, directed in a certain way.
Okay,
There's
now I have a
really
question.
nothing
So,
that
so I have a question
yeah.
for the for to bring to the wisdom of Kabbalah. I can't believe my eyes. I
That's
can't
right.
believe what they're telling me. I don't
Yeah.
know
Well,
what
you
their
mean
agenda, what
you
anyone's agenda. But
can't, I mean,
I'm not talking about they. I'm talking about
okay.
literally all of reality because the they is also part of nature, by the
Sure.
way. Just like, all these
Sure.
processes are
Yeah.
natural, you know, everyone, Putin is natural. He's organic. Zelensky is organic. I mean, everybody comes from Earth. And the system includes everything. So the question is, if 99.999% of this is kind of pre-programmed, and I can't believe my eyes, where am I? What is going on?
Yeah.
What do I,
Hmm.
because
No,
anyway, I have to live.
I'm how do you okay, there's two levels to this, right? Because on one level, we're talking about how we're human beings are lying to each other and you can't trust anyone. That's like one theme that we brought up now. But you're implying it's something deeper, which is that regardless of what you hear and who's talking and what you're listening to, and what it is that you're examining, in any case you can't trust your own senses. In any case you can't trust what you call reality to be real. In any case, we never actually experience a reality that we can call real. So what level do we want to investigate here?
You can never experience a reality that you can call real. So hold on. The organs are doing their things, right? Let's leave them alone, right?
Okay.
Feed the body, there's this hardware. In the meantime, I'm living inside of it, I guess. That's how I perceive the world through it. And we're kind of coming to a conclusion that we can't believe our own eyes. But in the meantime, this work of the Kabbalists is given to a person who's living in a body, specifically done by people who are living in bodies. So I want to first identify where is okay, for example, let me just go back to the deepfake thing for a second, okay?
Okay. All right.
So there's the story the reason why I brought up deepfake, I saw a story this week that said, end of last week, that said that actually in our unconscious, we can, I
Mm-hmm.
guess after hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, our unconscious can detect deepfakes.
Our
But our,
subconscious, but not
that's
our
what I meant, our subconscious
but not our
can. But
conscious mind.
the
Meaning,
reason why
I could
the
see a deep fake, and I could you could ask me and I would tell you, yeah, it looks real. I don't know, I don't see anything wrong with it. But subconsciously, yeah, that's what you mean.
Well, I mean, I
Subconsciously,
think
I would
probably
still.
like subconsciously, I know I should go to bed now, but I keep scrolling social media for another hour and a half, and I'll be tired again tomorrow. Or like subconsciously, I know I shouldn't have that second hamburger, but or like I kind of know, but consciously I'm here. Everyone's doing it. I want to,
But what did they
So
find? What did the story say?
the
What
story
is
says that subconsciously, uh,
yeah,
I think it's only a little more than 50%, but anyway, there's some kind of empirical evidence
yeah.
that subconsciously we know.
Right. Okay. So when we see a deep fake, the science is now saying subconsciously you feel something's not right about it, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
enough to make
So
us
you're right. It's not
react,
enough for us
but
to
yeah.
react, but there's something there. Okay. Okay. And that's, I think what's interesting about it is that there's a dissonance inside ourselves, because a part of us feels this is fake, and the conscious part of us might say no, this is real, which is interesting. I would say we're
Really interesting.
always, I mean, deepfakes is a great example. And oh boy, if we're thinking about the future, that's gonna be that's gonna be
Can you
crazy.
imagine? I mean,
Oh yeah.
imagine political season. You don't know which politician. Imagine even in like a
What
small
you just said about
town.
Putin declaring nuclear war, that could be done with a deepfake, easily, and all those limbic systems of the West where we'll go ballistic over a 15 seconds deepfake or whatever.
You wouldn't be
Yeah.
able, and not only, and it's for us maybe here it would be different, but imagine that you could go to some country that's not as developed and
Mm-hmm.
well, I heard from, and it's probably common to everyone who knows about it, but I heard from a guy who lives in Ukraine who has a brother who lives in Russia, that the
Yeah.
brother in Russia was told, on their news is saying we're going to liberate the Ukrainians from the Nazis there.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the story is a completely different story depending on where you live and where you get your media from, your news from. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. So everyone's story, you can really take a whole group of
Dude,
people.
don't go that far. Left and right in your country, it's the highest level of social polarization. And what's interesting, and there's a lot of social science research on that, is to the extent to which the perception of reality, the notions of what's good and bad, right and wrong, and so forth, are completely opposite, very dissonant in huge. It's just extreme polarization, and this is people living together in the same country, who
So
have a,
all of the
yeah, they're living in a
all
different
of
perception.
the
Yeah.
all of the university education, we have the internet, right? You think we have a lot of information. We can be no, Seth, I heard what you said at the beginning. You think I'm unconscious. No, I'm conscious. I read, I watch videos, I listen to scientists, I went to university or I did self-study or I know what's going on. But here's the thing. Once the emotions are activated, once this unconscious is activated by things we're seeing in the media and all these different stories, we're not using our conscious brain anymore. We're going back to the pre-programmed systems
Yeah.
again. So we're
Yeah.
just, if we could stay in the conscious place, if we could build a reality, and this is what Bala Salam is. That's why we talked about it at the beginning. When Bala Salam is giving us that structure over and over and over again, we're downloading a new set of software into the
Oh,
hardware.
that's great. That's great. That is really what Kabbalah does to you, I would say. You're, it's very, here's the thing. Okay, now you inspired something here. I mean, how do you respond when you know these situations where people try to? You're in a certain situation. You meet some people. They understand that you're studying Kabbalah in a serious way. That you're serious into that, whether it's like family, relatives, or people you meet or something. And then this conversation happens where it's like, what does it give you? What does it, what do you get from it? Or what does it teach you how to do? And there's just no way almost to explain to a person that your whole essence is going through a reformatting, that it informs your sense of being and existing in the world, that your whole perception of reality expands, that and deepens, that you begin to relate to a dimension that is beyond your day-to-day physical experience. There's just no way to try to capture all of that and into a, oh, it helps me with my job, or there, and all of those people are looking for this, like, very clear, specific, small kind of, like, it helps you make more money. Does it help you getting more dates? Does it help you with your family life? Does it help you at work? People are looking for the stuff they know, how to enhance that, how to improve that. But this wisdom, it changes who you are. That's a bit. I don't want to scare any people who might be
It's great. It's
watching
great,
us
and
for the
this is the
first time.
fundamental. This is great. No, it's not scary. It's so needed, and it's such a relief. And anyone who's paying attention, I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more, uh, especially in the realm of science. But we see, for example, I put on a VR helmet. You video games used to be this little, Pac-Man or something. Then I got this like very incredible graphic situation. Now you put on a VR helmet and you can feel you're in another place, and you
Yeah.
can actually have, some human feeling robot. You may be able to have a human feeling robot that can punch you if you want to do a fight game. You may have a human feeling robot that can touch you sensually in some situation. You can
Mm-hmm.
have a whole virtual experience with all these droids running these algorithms in us.
Yes.
The issue is,
VR is gonna be insane when it becomes like more and more like better and affordable, and like that's gonna be it's gonna be insane, because I mean,
crazy.
even now, even right now, I can't remember the numbers, but there's some crazy statistics. We look at our phone like whatever, like 150 times a day. We at least, like on average, go back to it, something like that. The teenagers in the West, they spend, I think, something like 8 to 12 hours a day minimum, or something like that, on social media. I can't remember the numbers, but it's something crazy like that. And when you think about, that's just taking a device and doing like this with your hand. That's just that. Like, what's gonna happen when you're gonna put on this and you're gonna wear a
We
suit,
saw it. We saw the
and
Neuralink too, where the monkey thinks and the game plays based on how the
right.
monkey's thinking.
So
Right.
when these technologies become more in daily use, who's gonna why do I even need to go to live in this world when I can live in a much better, most likely, situation, and have every design my own universe in VR? Why the hell do I need to go back to, like, to this crappy place, and,
Okay.
like,
So
it's
the
interesting
the
where it
but
goes. Yeah.
here's the thing about all that. We won't get to any good solution for our problems through any of that. None of our There's no solution to problems through all of that. But what the tech shows us, I guess the reason why it's happening, it's not because that's how we're
Hmm.
going to all live fulfilled lives, but the reason, although it would be great if robots could do the dishes and the laundry and, cook dinner and clean
Yeah.
up the house, but
No, but
but
you're talking about specifically about the experience of virtual reality, the experience of deep fakes when you think it's real and you're not sure anymore. Right, that kind of thing. The
yeah,
experience of technologies that alter our sense of reality, or give us a hint that we can perceive reality in a different way, that the reality we're looking at might not be actual reality. That's what you're
right.
that's what
Right,
you're after.
right,
Yeah.
because I
Okay.
can feel a person, and we all know people like this. A person can be in such a stressed out state, such a overwhelmed state, and we're looking at the person like everything is fine.
Right.
Everything is going to be fine.
Yeah.
But we can get into an emotional state. Our perception of reality is totally malleable.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the
You don't even need to be, there's a good example that I'm sure happened to everyone, to anyone, at some point. If you're really bothered by something, if you're like, if you have some, is there a good word for it? In Hebrew, it's like מחשבות טורדניות. You know what I mean? Like when you're consumed by something that you can't stop thinking about because it's so you're anxious about it, you're concerned about something. I don't know, like someone you care about just fought with you, or something bad is someone is in surgery and it's critical, life or death situation, whatever, something like that. That kind of situation. In these situations, you keep being consumed by thoughts. A lot of people will identify with how when you're in that situation, you could even eat food because you have to, because otherwise you won't, you'll
and there's no
you,
taste, right?
but there's literally no taste. It's like rubber. It's like, because you're so occupied with something and so worried about something, and your interest right now cannot be focused on the flavor of the food. It's just, it has bigger fish to fry, right? It has bigger things to be
Yeah.
occupied by, and your whole sense of reality changes. Your whole, even to the point that the flavor is not the same flavor, if at all, if you even have any flavor at all. So clearly, and add to that, if you want to go all spectrum here, psychedelic experiences, where people, will report after some psychedelic trip that they were in a certain place, or they were a certain thing. I was a tree, someone would say, or something like that. You cannot convince, and these could be sane people, not delusional, weird, like insane people, just sane people who said, "Look, I had that experience, and I was there. That was it. I felt that as real." So the thing that we're seeing from here is that clearly our perception of reality is completely malleable. It's completely changeable. And that makes you think, who said we know right now in our default, regular, ordinary, day to day life? Who said we actually know where we are right now?
Yeah, and why
This
do I need to
too
feel
is a
this
certain
way?
perception. Yeah.
Right. Well, the same way that the Putin, if the as the example of the Putin making that kind of announcement, like, why do I need the way that I'm feeling now, the crappy way that I feel from day to day? First of all, what's the value of that? And why do I have to stay in that? And here's the thing
Mm.
though, the Kabbalist comes with a different kind of explanation and solution, because the purpose for the Kabbalist is not just to rearrange the protein to make the protein feel more comfortable. The point is that, well, Asaf, we're going to have to
What?
we're up against the wall here, and we have to actually go over this wall, I think, in order to get there, because the difference, first of all, our playing field has no boundaries. When we come to the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're not talking about being limited by time and space. And we're not talking about a situation where um, we're just going to rearrange something to make more money, or rearrange to find somebody compatible with me in my life, or rearrange my thoughts so that this person doesn't stress me out anymore. But that specifically from this reality that we're in. Okay, so we established that perception. First of all, we established that that most of the computations that we're going through are on autopilot. That we received them from nature, and they're
Yes.
just operating on us. The next thing we confirmed is that our perception is malleable.
Yes. And
Okay.
the thing that emerges from this, the question, or the conclusion that emerges from this is, how can you safely say that what you think is real is actually real? Just the fact that we wake up every day and feel a sense of time and space and feel a reality that we call material reality does not mean that this is what really exists. It only means that this is our current perception. Because clearly, with different senses, you'd see a different world, with a different mode of perception, with psychedelic experiences, with being obsessed over something, and so forth, and all the examples we just talked about, you feel reality in a different way. So
It's like
who
you wake up
says?
and
So just because the default mode is something we're used to, every day you go for, say, 7 or 8 hours to sleep. Where the hell are you going? Where is that place? Who said, that you are not sleeping right now? In some other way, a different kind of sleeping, a different kind of dream. So basically,
this is what
yeah,
the Kabbalists say. The Kabbalists say that this reality is a dream. We will wake up
yes,
from this reality.
yeah. There's yeah. Can't remember the full quote, but it's even in Psalms, by the way. In Psalms, yeah, I saw a reversed world, or we were as dreamers,
Yeah.
referring to the awakening, the revelation of what Kabbalists call the spiritual reality. Feels like awakening from within a dream. You realize you were dreaming uh, while thinking you're awake. Anyway, so essentially, I think the main thing I'd like people to take from this is that it's just technically wrong. It is objectively wrong and unscientific, if you will, to say that this material world within time and space is the objective reality that exists outside of us, regardless of us. No, it's a product of our current perception, and we can explore it, we can talk about it, we can build airplanes and build the world wide web within it using these ideas of time and space, sure. But when it comes to saying this is the true nature of reality, it's a material reality in time and space that exists outside of us, that's just technically a mistake. You cannot say that about reality. You can say that we experience it like that. And why is that so important? Because that's what makes Kabbalah such an empirical practice, super empirical practice, because Kabbalists don't rely on the assumption that because we feel it every day and it's intuitive to us, there's an objective world, a material objective world outside of us, and that's reality. That's a belief. It's an assumption.
Okay. Just break that. You said that to me before, and I just want you to break it down. There's a reality outside of me, and you said that's
Take
just a
these.
belief.
Okay, look, there's this story that I thought about bringing up and weren't sure if we'll get to it. Let's just quickly talk about something. Okay, so there's this the Large Hadron Collider, right, in Geneva, there on the border between
Smashing atoms, trying to make the
Swiss,
Big Bang
yeah,
all over
yeah,
again,
just
something.
yeah, exactly, just between Swiss and Germany, no, French, and I think the French and the Swiss border. Anyway, it's about 30 kilometers, 27 kilometers underground, 200 meters deep. It's a circular tunnel basically, and yes, they're sending particles at very, very, very dramatic speeds to basically, that creates energy explosions. And from those energetic explosions, particles are created during the explosions, and they try to measure, to detect using detectors what happens in the explosion. And from that, they're trying to study the building blocks of matter, right? So there's this article. I'll put the headline of the screen. Can you see this? So
Yeah.
LHC-B, that's the Large Hadron Collider. I don't know what B here stands for. Anyway, it's called the Large Hadron Collider. They finished building it already in 2010. It's 2008. It's not a new thing. But they keep renovating it and improving it and try to make new to conduct new experiments. Anyway, they found 3 new particles. They ran another collision, 3 new particles. This is what's so funny to me, from a Kabbalistic perspective.
What are those particles?
What are those particles? Exactly. Did we now find the secrets of reality? Did we find what reality is actually made of? Where are those particles? What are those particles? The
No, hold on.
particles.
You're saying a lot of zip files.
Okay. Okay. So
Unzip
let's
them.
open it.
Okay.
You're
So
probably right.
yeah, they
Yeah.
found particles. Now, to you, you're saying they
Right.
found particles, but the reality doesn't
No,
exist.
no, no.
No,
But wait.
that's
Okay.
a
Let's take
big
it
jump.
step by step then. They found through
What
their
are they finding?
detectors that
They
there's
found some matter.
3 new kind of particles they didn't know
So
existed.
is particle matter?
Particles are little tiny bits of matter.
Okay. So they
Okay,
smash things together, and
they
from the
smash. They
smashing,
create energy
something
explosions.
appeared. Something that wasn't there before appeared.
Yes, something they didn't
3 of
find
them.
before. Yeah,
3 different
Yeah,
kinds.
Yeah, so think about atoms. We were all familiar with atoms. We used to think
Uh-huh.
this is like a very fundamental description of reality, that it's built from atoms. Then we discovered that there's subatomic particles. That there's like protons and neutrons and
Quarks
electrons, and then we discovered that the protons are made of quarks. And this is the level that we're talking about here, something at the
Okay.
level of quarks. Okay, so
Okay.
that's what these guys are discovering.
Okay.
And again, billions and billions of dollars. I think 10,000 scientists from around the world participated in building it and designing it. Huge, achievement for human engineering. Amazing, no doubt. But what are those quarks or hadrons? By the way, that's why it's called a hadron collider, because a hadron is just like a molecule is a collection of atoms. So a hadron is a collection of quarks. Anyway, doesn't matter. Little, tiny bits of matter. Okay, we found 3 new new of those new tiny bits. What are those bits of matter? What are they? Where are they? Are they actually the building blocks of some objective reality that exists outside of us, whether we look at it or not, whether we exist or not? It existed before us, it will exist after us, and we are now studying it. Is that really what's going on? So
Is there an
you,
objective
you have
reality?
to give me feedback here,
told
so
you
I
here?
know if this is if
No, I
this is
want
still
listen.
if
You,
this
you
is
said
still
you
zip
said
files, or this is if or you think this is
no.
understood.
You said
So I
what are
see
these
if we
particles
can
and
go deeper.
yeah, I want to go as deep as possible in the next 10 minutes. But you said, what are those particles? Is it real? I mean, what is this mouse? Is it
Yeah,
real? I mean, are
same
you saying
question. Of
oh, okay. Oh,
course.
okay.
Of
So
course.
that's why I got
Yes.
thrown off that what well, so let's try and separate it. Like, I could say, what is this mouse? It's not a
Yes.
great question, but what is anything then?
Yes,
I mean, that doesn't have
exactly.
anything to do with the Hadron Collider.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. For some reason, I mean, for obvious reasons, we think that if we go deep into matter, we will find the secrets of the universe, right? But even when we go as deep as you can go, you're still observing through your own senses and your own brain and your own mind. And so you don't ever get to know what is outside of
So, with
you.
which brain and which mind can you perceive the spiritual, the true, objective spiritual reality?
Okay, so wait, that's a jump now. Wait, if we're gonna go, let's go
That's where I
step
want to
by
go.
step.
That's where I was
Okay,
trying to go with the
so
first item, but I couldn't make
so
the leap.
so the
I
first
brought us to a wall, but I couldn't get over it.
let's try this route. So the first thing to recognize is this: everything we're looking at and experience and call material reality is our experience. This is our experience. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying we don't know what it is. Let's be fair. Let's be reasonable, okay? We don't know what this mouse is. We don't know what the particles are. We just don't know, because whatever we experience that we call particles, or all of material reality, the constellations, the people, all of that is our interpretation of reality. So if we want to be empirical, if we want to be accurate, then we have to say that all we know is that we experience something that we call particles. We experience something that we call material reality. Now, you want to stop me
No,
here
I want to know,
and
but there's no different. I experienced this mouse. I mean, so
right. So
what
what?
do we
Who
care about
cares?
the
What's
Hadron
the
Collider?
difference? What does it matter? Okay, let's go back to the examples we talked about before. It matters because if you think that reality is objective reality, that what you see and experience is objective reality outside of you, then that's it. That's where it
Ah,
ends.
okay. We
If you
discovered such and such
understand,
particles. Okay,
if
which
you
now it's there, and we can put it in the book of truth that that's there, and
no,
that's
no,
how
no, but
reality
not
is.
not just that. If you recognize that all of reality is your experience, then by changing something about how you experience reality,
You could see
you
something
can
totally
change
different.
reality. Yes. That's
Hmm.
all, and that's really all that Kabbalah is about. It doesn't say there's a God outside of us. No, Kabbalists don't say that. Even when they say the word creator or God or something like that, and Barasulam makes it very, very clear and repeats it
Same
again and again
article.
in his
Same.
articles. And in the beginning of tests, it says it again and again. All that we experience, all that we talk about as Kabbalists, is from the attainment of our own vessel of perception. Even when we say the creator, it's just a figure of speech. It is, what is the creator? It is a sensation, an experience that appears in your own vessel of experience. That's what feels reality. We call that a vessel, right? In the wisdom of Kabbalah. So all that Kabbalists are engaged with is how to calibrate my own vessel, my own perception, to experience reality in a different way. That's it. That is it. And in the practice of it, they try all kinds of experiments, just like a scientist conducts experiments,
So where are
right?
you? Where is the Kabbalist getting the tools to
From
perceive
experience.
reality?
From experience, trial and error, trying, testing,
Trying
discovering.
what?
Okay, so just like in how in science you start from a certain hypothesis, let's say, you start from something that you're going to test. The hypothesis of every spiritual degree is that all that you experience, all of your reality, all the different parts and elements of it are they belong to a single program. They come from a single guiding program, or a single intention, or a single thought. Kabbalists call this the thought of creation. And now they don't just stay with this statement, or assumption. They go and try to calibrate their perception to feel that, to experience that. And as a result, they discover that they're far from it, or that they feel it to an extent. And that's where the research is taking place and experimentation is taking place. And that's where they came up with understanding that for that you need to work with a few other people like you who are doing the same work. And between you, in a focused, dedicated group, you try to identify those connections of the single program that you each feel within you. And that becomes like, and that's the whole practice. That's how it's built. But it relies solely on empirical observation from your own vessel. There is nothing there that you assume is
But we
just
already
that,
said that
and
the
that's it.
vessel
But what is my
is
problem then with these particles? Right?
okay.
So who cares about the particles then? The my issue with that is that we think of we assume that this material reality is something that exists objectively outside of us, and whether we are there to observe it or not has nothing to do with it. We are looking at objective reality, and
So
while
the
it's
issue.
useful, it's completely. If you want to know about the nature of reality, you're being not precise, and it's completely wrong, because all that you experience, all that you research as particles, you're actually researching your own perception. That's what we're researching. All of scientific reductionism, which is basically what we do in most of science, breaking things apart to find the fundamental units that make up a system, right? It's just flawed. It's just it's not gonna take you to any. It doesn't give you any access to reality as it is, and yet we consider it reality as it is, objective reality. But we're
What does a
all,
person
yeah.
do with so we started with the premise, I think most people here already kind of forgot it, or it's so inconvenient that we don't doesn't really enter the ear. But if 99.99% of all of our of how we live, or 99.9999999% of all of how we live is totally without free choice, is totally programmed into
Mm-hmm.
me. So what do I
Oh,
do with that part?
awesome, man. That's exactly where we should where we should end on a high note, and
Note of suspense.
something that yeah. So where is our free choice? So Kabbalists say, and that's coming from their research. If you want to feel it, you have to research it for yourself, right? That's what the whole method is about. Whoa,
Whoops.
whoa, that was
Sorry about that.
that was too too intense, too early. Anyway, but we got
I
the
had no
song
free will.
now.
I had no
We
free
know.
will. It happened.
Where is your free will, though? It's
Where's our producer after all these shows? We're still doing
yeah,
everything ourselves here.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
The
As you're saying.
So the point, the here's the forget where I wanted to go. The
Where is our free choice?
Yeah, the free choice. Our free choice is exactly at that point, changing our perception of reality. That's what it's about. What you already perceive here in this material world is, Kabbalists refer to this as branches, meaning every branch, if you look at a tree, all of its branches, they're beautiful, and they coalesce at certain points, and they're intricate, very intricate and detailed, but they all are caused from, they all are outcomes of their root. And so if you want to influence anything, if you want to realize your free choice, it's not going to be on the level of the branches. Everything that we experience here in this material reality, it's a material perception, is already a product of our perception. Free choice lies in the program that governs your perception. Kabbalists say you have access to that if you activate your free choice, if you want. That's where you can go, and going there equals realizing your free choice. And so, of course, that's just a big thing that needs to be further detailed and explored, but that's why it matters.
The perception. Okay, so but that's only one part of the equation. You
Yes.
tell us where the free choice is, uh, and I'd be happy to have free choice and not just be a chimp. But what am I going to do about it? Is the real magic, the real magic of the Kabbalists. Like, what? Because I think that the reason why the Kabbalists are telling us that, right? We talked about the 99.999999999, but if we can find that door, imagine there's a wall that's a million kilometers
Um,
long, and there's
eh,
one door, and
yeah,
if you can find
yeah,
that door,
exactly.
and you can go through that door,
As
there's a
Harry
whole.
as Harry Potter as it is, that is pretty much the it's a good analogy. It's a good metaphor for the situation that we're in.
So
Because
imagine the whole thing, turning inside out like a torus or something like that, like the
uh,
circle that kind of like flip, that one
mhm.
point, all of a sudden everything inverts, and the material part that now is operating as 99.999% um, unconsciously, we go through that portal and we're living now in the spiritual reality 99.9999999, and everything that's going on here in this body just becomes the 0.00001 that we exist in. But all of our what becomes available to us is not CNN and BBC and crap from the news and crap, some another pair of sneakers or the weather, but this but what's really going on here, what it's
Yeah.
really all about. And that whole thing turns inside out. Um,
Yeah. I gotta we gotta conclude. I got
we do.
a nice quote to finish with.
Okay.
It won't wrap things up. I think it will only open things more. But why not leave on an open ended note? What do you say about that? Huh? You're
Sounds
muted.
good.
Okay, let's
I think
so
I blew a fuse when I played the song before. I'm trying to get
oh really?
trying to fix it again. So you read the quote
Uh
and let me see what I can do over there.
okay, and if you can't, then I'll see if I can play the voices. Yeah, it works.
Okay.
All right, check this
All
out.
right.
Um, this is from today, from a couple hours ago, from our teacher, Dr. Michael Lightman. So he says this: let's call the spiritual reality waves, nothing but waves. And we have to detect them and begin to sense them. Rise to their nature, to their quality and intensity, so that we can emerge from the imaginary corporeal perception we see now. Where do we perceive reality? Inside our brain. The room you're in right now, the world, the constellations, other people, your brain's interpretation of the waves that reach your five senses builds your reality. We have to detect the spiritual form of the world, and it isn't the world we feel through our five senses. In Kabbalah, we gradually learn how to transcend our five senses. So that's where we're going.
We are so lucky. We are so fortunate. Uh, when I was before I found Kabbalah and before cell phones, I was 19, 20 years old, and I started reading a lot of spiritual books. It'd be like,
Mm,
you would go to, uh, you know, this winter there's going to be a retreat with this teacher or something, and you
right.
you once a year you have a thing, this summer there's going to be a concert, and we're going to go. And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
for the Kabbalist, it's like
Every
every
day.
single day you're
Yeah,
just in.
and
It's
and it's not
amazing.
just a thing that you do and go back to your ordinary life. It's include you learn how to include your whole experience, your whole life into this new perception that you're building. That is why it's so unbelievably inclusive of everything that you are and do. It's not like a practice that you do on the side, a hobby it really you become it. I don't.
I'm
There's
so
no other way to
I'm so
explain
happy
it. Yeah,
to have friends like you, to have you as a friend,
as am
and
I.
Chris, and to be on this journey to found this path. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will be here next week on Thursday, 2 p.m., as we go through the transition from into the spiritual reality. We'll see you then. Bye, everyone.
See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye. Now is the time for the song.
Just to run and feel that is best. Then to come home with you and rest.
Masked up, gotta block the call. Masking out my heart from egoistic thoughts. Learning all the lessons that this pressure gave us. Wanna save myself, I gotta save my neighbors. Slowly recognizing egoistic nature. Showing us connection is the only savior. We gon' come together, plow these fields of hatred. All is one with sowing seeds of love relations.
To shatter these walls, recycle this heart from the chains of time. Then we soar through oceans in the sky. Oh, through the cold, to be in love with you, watch you with a bird's eye. See the world is filled with you. Just to run in a field that is blessed. Then to come home with you and rest. Just to run till you feel that is blessed. Then to come home with you and rest.
Only love can save us. Viruses, the hatred, unity gon' vaccinate us. True immunity from all the things that separate us. Everything is only for the good, it's all to change us. Yeah, so with tears and we reaping joy. Ego is the evil seeking to destroy. Education covering the hate with love. Revelation blessings raining from above.
Just to run in a field that is blessed. And